Well, welcome back to your favorite Fundamentals College math class. Today we're going to talk about conventional loans. Now, the nice thing is this is the same formula as a payout annuity. It's just that you're taking a loan out. So instead of like, oh, I have $500,000 to retire on or whatever, as the PO is the principal amount or the loan amount that you're taking out. So we'll go ahead and use that formula. And then the lender is the PMT would be your loan payment, right, until it's zeroed out, or in other words, the future value of the annuity is zero. Okay, so similar setup. Same thing for compounding. If it's monthly, you want to have your NB12 and so on. Okay, let's look at this first example here. Janelle bought a home for $390,000, paying 24. Oops. Sorry about that. I'm jumping ahead here. There we go. Abigail. Let me go ahead and write down our formula from above. So I wrote down the loan formula, or the payout annuity formula. It's the same one. It says Abigail can afford $200 per month, so that's her payment. She can afford $200. She can get an auto loan at 3%, so our R is 0.03. So I got 1 minus 1 plus 0.03 over N. So our compoundings, this is per month, so our N is 12 monthly. N is 12 compound, so N is 12 negative, N is 12. T, we're going to do this for 5 years. Loan payment for 5 years. So T is 5. So there's going to be 60 payments total, right? 12 times a year, 5 years. This is all over R, so 0.03 over 12. So how expensive of a car can she buy? In other words, what does she qualify for as far as her loan? How much of a loan can she get? We'll pull up decimals to do this. All right, so make sure you use your parentheses real carefully, but you notice I got my $200 payment, and then 1 minus, parentheses, all this, the rate 0.03 divided by compoundings times negative N times T all over R over N, right? So a bunch of parentheses there. And there's the P subscript 0, that's the $11,130. I'm going to go ahead and write down. And 47 cents, I think it was. So that's the loan that Abigail can get on the car. Now, I would do this with the financial calculator instead. And so if you're bringing the financial calculator up, make sure your mode will be on end, and then it'll have these in there. Rate, periods, compounding. Our compounding's monthly. Make sure that says monthly. Our periods, this is N times T. 12 compounding, 12 payments per year, 5 years, compounds monthly. So 60 payments is your periods right there. Our annual rate is a 3%. Remember, don't change that to a decimal. That's as a percent. The future value of the loan will be 0. In other words, after you make the 60 payments, I will owe the bank nothing. Okay, we're solving for how much loan we can get. We're going to make a payment of $200 a month, right? So it's costing us $200. And then I'm going to click on that present value. So the story is I got a 3% auto loan. I'm going to make 60 total payments, 12 times a year for 5 years. 12 times 5 is 60. I'm going to owe the bank nothing at the end of that loan. after I make all 60 payments. I can afford a $200 payment. So I'm going to click on this present value. So I will get $11,130 in loan money to buy a car. 11,130.47. Oops. All right, I like this one. Janelle's buying a home for $390,000, paying 24% as a down payment, and financing the rest for 30 years. So how much, part A, how much does she put down as a down payment? Well, the home costs $390,000, 24%, 0.24. So let's multiply that. 390,000 times 0.24, $93,600. Okay, so that's the down payment. Oh, that's a big down payment. Nicely done, Janelle. Part B. So how much was financed? If you put down in cash $93,600, well, the amount financed would be the difference between that. So $390,000 minus what you already paid off on the home or put as a down payment, and you get, this is how much we need a loan for. All right, that's how much Janelle needs the loan for, $296,400. So part C, what's her monthly payment? So present value, we're taking out a loan, we're getting $296,400 from the bank. The future value of the loan will be zero. We're trying to figure out what our payment's going to be. The interest rate is a 6%, that's as a percent. The periods, so how many N times T? 12 payments per year. This is a 30-year loan, so 360 payments. And then I click on that and make sure it's compounding monthly. Compounding monthly on that. Click on the payment. It'll end up giving you, it costs you $1,777.07. That's your monthly mortgage payment. $1,777.07 monthly payment. So part D on this says, if Janelle makes these payments every month for 30 years, how much will she have spent on the home, right? Because she's obviously paying interest as well. Well, let's figure out part D, total amount she paid on the home. Let's just do the loan amount first. And then we'll add in her down payment. So she made 360, 12 times a year for 30 years, 360 of these $1,777.07 payments. And she also put down at the beginning $93,600. So if I go 360 times 1777.07, I get $639,745.20. Now, that's a lot, right? Like, holy cow, that's a lot. Remember, the loan was only for $296,400. That's a lot. Paid a lot. So you add the two together, total cost of this house, because of all the dang interest you paid, is $733,345.2, right? So if I was just asking you, what did the bank get in interest off of you? So depressing to even calculate this. Remember, you paid $693,745.20 when you made all 360 payments. The loan was only for, the bank only gave you a loan for that much money. They're upfronting you that much money, right? So they made off of you $343,000 in pure interest, right? That's all money out the window. Oh, how depressing that is. That's why you want to minimize debt right there, right? Try and get a 15-year mortgage, not a 30-year mortgage, because the interest is substantially different, right? Our last example here, we're taking out a $140,000 mortgage. Ooh, that's a nice mortgage. I wish that was realistic nowadays. Interest rate on loans 6%, loans for 30 years. How much will your monthly payments be? Number one. And then let's fill out what's called the amortization schedule. So number one, what we're going to do is we're going to set up the loan to find the payment. Okay, so we have a $140,000 loan. I'm trying to solve for what's my payment every month. The future value, I'll pay it off and owe the bank nothing at the very end of this. It's a 6% interest. 6% interest on that. It's a 30-year loan. So monthly on my compounds, 30 times 12. So I'm going to make 360 payments on this. And if I click that payment, it'll give me, it'll cost me $839.37. Okay. So that's step one. So when I'm filling out this amortization schedule, my beginning balance is $140,000. And I'm making a payment that month, in the first month, of $839.37. So what would my ending balance be? So on step two, what I do, and this is to get my ending balance. I'm starting out with $140,000. I'm making a payment of $839.37, and what would my future value be if I make one payment, right? I'm not making all 360, I'm just making one payment. And I am compounding monthly. So I changed my periods now to 1. I'm making one payment, and I'm going to click how much do I owe after one payment, after I've paid $839.37 for my mortgage that month. $139,860.63. So I owe, what was that again? Okay, so that goes right here. That's how much I owe after one payment. Okay. So what went towards the principal? Because only part of that went towards paying off. You know, if I went 140,000 minus 139,860.63, that's my principal. So let me write that right here. My principal, I owed 140,000 at the beginning before I made the payment. I made the payment, and then I owed 139,860.63. So only $139.37 my loan, or went towards the principal. The rest of it was a bunch of interest to the bank. So the interest here, so how much was the interest? Well, 839.37 minus what went towards the principal, you know, the loan went down by $139.37. And so $700 went straight to the bank in interest. That's our stupid tax for taking a loan out, right? No, it's a privilege of having a home if you have a mortgage, right? So now, step 2, let's do this. We're going to do this for 4 payments. So now at the beginning of the second month, I now owe $139,860.63. I'm making the same payment. What is my ending balance? Okay, so I owe $139,860.63, and I'm making this payment. What do I owe after one payment? If my rate is 6%, and I do a 1 payment, compounding monthly. So I have my $139,860.63. I make 1 payment. So now I owe $139,720.56. Now the other thing you can do, if you want, you could get the same number. If you left that $140,000, you just made this is your second payment, notice that it'll be the same thing. At the end of 2 payments, I owe $139,720.56. So however you want to do that, let's go ahead and throw that in. So after the second payment, I owe $139,720.56. So then I say, all right, how much went towards principal? At the beginning of this month, I owed $139,860.63. After making the payment, I owed $139,720.56. That's a difference of $140.07. So that's what went towards principal, $140.07. So then what went to the bank? What went to the bank? Well, I made a payment of $839.37. It only went down, the loan only went down $140.07. So $699.30 was my interest. Notice as time goes on, now I know it's only been a couple months, the principal, how much you pay in principal will go up. So these values at the end of your loan, like in the year, the 29th, 30th year, these will flip-flop. There'll be a lot more going towards principal than there will be going to the bank in interest. Right? That's the idea. Or hopefully you'd see that if you were to do this quite a bit. All right, let's do the next one. So now at the beginning of month 3, we owe $139,720.56. We're still going to make an $839.37 loan. So we owe $139,720.56. I'm still making a payment of $839.37. What do I owe after 1 month? That's 6%. 1 month. Click on that. That'll give you $139,579.79. So that goes right up here. I make a payment, $139,579.79. And then I take $139,579.79 minus $139,720.56, and that'll be my principal. That'll give me 140.77. Let me go back up here. 40.77. What went towards interest? Interest would be my payment, 839.37 minus 140.77. That'll give me 698.60. 698.60. Let me do that one more time. Now I owe 139,579.79. I'm making the same payment. I do that again, and I'll end up with 139,438.32. I subtract the beginning balance from the ending balance. I'll get 141.47. I take the payment minus that principal. I'll get 697.90. And you could do that for 30 years. I don't think you'd want to do that for 30 years or 360 payments, but you could see it, right? And you could play with it with your financial calculator and how much you'd owe after so many payments or periods and so on. Well, thanks so much for watching Loan Payments. Taking notes. See you next time.